Hey everyone, my name is Allie and welcome to a new vlog. Today is Sunday and it is actually 3:15 and technically I am starting this vlog close to when I ended my last vlog. And we are actually going to be heading off to the pumpkin patch, and so I'm super excited to go. I've never been to this particular pumpkin patch, but I've heard really good things. And I will definitely take you guys along with me, so get excited about that. In regards to what I'm currently reading, I actually don't really have an audiobook like immediately lined up for me at the moment. I did finish Oye last night, which I did talk about in my last vlog, but I just haven't really picked out a new audiobook yet, so I'm definitely gonna have to think about that for tonight and tomorrow. And I'm also in the middle of reading physically Until August by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I actually have it. It's over by my bed, so I'm not going to go get it. But I am really enjoying it, and I am super excited to get to read like a Gabriel Garcia Marquez book that I've never read before. So that's really exciting. And yeah, I'm just gonna take you guys along with me to the pumpkin patch. I definitely need another cup of coffee though, so hopefully I can either make a cup of coffee or we can get another cup of coffee. That's you. I like this coat. Remember that old meme? Which pumpkin should we pick out? They're all really good looking, actually. What about this one? I like this one. It's pretty good. What do you think? Oh, do you not like the bottom? Okay. Well, we can find a different one then. Okay, so we found our pumpkin. Picked out a good one. Everyone, so it is Wednesday night, and you guys did see earlier that I made some cupcakes, and I didn't really make them for myself. It was a box mix that my brother had picked out, and not my personal favorite, but I made them and everybody else seemed to like them in my house, so that's great. We also went and worked out a little bit, and we also watched one of the postseason games that the Padres played against the Braves, and they ended up winning, which means that they get to move forward, which is really exciting for my dad. My dad's a big Padres fan. My team, as you guys probably know, we are not in the playoffs, obviously, but I am rooting for the Padres in the playoffs. I hope that they make it far. We're just gonna say that. My brother's a Dodger fan, so that's the whole thing. They're gonna play each other on Saturday, so that'll be really exciting to watch. Anyway, I actually started Velvet Was the Night by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which I actually own physically, but I also have an audiobook for it, so I'm kind of like going back and forth and just like, you know, doing a little bit of reading from both. And so far I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, I mean, I feel like, you know, I'm a broken record at this point. I love Silvia Moreno Garcia. I would be so shocked if I didn't like one of her books. But yeah, I also added quite a few other books onto my Libby account for the second half of Latina Heritage Month, so we are definitely going to get through as many of those as possible. I don't know how, you know, I can't really predict how many I'll get through, but I will say that for the first half I got through 6 of them. So I think that I could probably do another 6 we'll see. But I am really excited about these books. I have a lot of good stuff, kind of like a mix of everything. So definitely I will keep you guys updated throughout this vlog. But yeah, I started Velvet Was the Night and so far so good. And I'm just going to be chilling out here for the rest of the night, listening to my audiobook and playing some phone games and just relaxing in my bed. So yeah, I probably won't update you guys until tomorrow, but yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that I started a new book. Hey everyone, so I don't remember the last time I updated for this vlog. I know, horrible. I'm doing such a bad job, but I have really kind of struggled with the last few books that I have started recently, so I think that's why I haven't been as good at updating this vlog this time around. I will talk about it, and we'll get to that first because I feel like we should get to that before we get to any of like the fun, exciting things I want to talk about. So, I mean, this might also be fun and exciting for you. I don't know. I'm going to talk about two of the books that I just recently DNF'd. Unfortunately, they are both gothic horror, gothic romance-ish, you know, whatever. And they are both, unfortunately, Latina authored books, which is such a bummer. So the first one I want to talk about is The House on Biscayne Bay by Chanel Cleeton. Yeah, Cleeton. And I ended up DNFing this book at 54%. It kind of depends on how I'm feeling on whether I like count a DNF towards my reading goal or if I don't. I did finish this at 54%, which usually if I have given it at least 50% of the way through, I usually do count it towards my reading goal, but I really don't care this time. So I really just added it to my DNF shelf, and my review only says, narratively incoherent snooze fest. If you like gothic literature, don't even bother. And I feel like that is pretty generous of me to say. It might sound really harsh, but unfortunately, as somebody who has really gotten into gothic literature in the last few years, and I've read a lot more than just like, you know, one or two books, this one just didn't really work for me. I feel like maybe if you want to get into gothic literature, this might be a good way to do it, but it's definitely not all that great, and I wouldn't even put it in like a recommendations video or anything. Like I said, narratively incoherent. I was reading this book and there were so many like very important details that like were just not clicking from the way that the author was presenting them. And then the most inane, useless information she was over explaining and explaining like 25 times. I'm like, I don't care about this. Like, this is something I don't care about. I need to know more about like the characters and the relationships and like the house, like the setting. I feel like gothic literature hinges so much on setting, and if you're not describing the setting and you're not putting me in that environment, what am I doing here? Like, yeah, it's set in Florida, but that's not enough to tell me what like the setting is supposed to be like. You know what I mean? It's set in a mansion. I don't know what the mansion looks like. You know what I mean? Like, I need there to be details. I need there to be beautiful descriptive language. There wasn't any of that in this book, and that is what really makes or breaks a gothic novel for me personally. And then also, it took me so long to figure out like the dual timeline, dual perspective sort of thing. Like, it was just so confusing, and I felt like we were jumping around from perspective to perspective really quickly, and there wasn't a distinctive voice between both perspectives. The earlier timeline, that narrator sounded nearly identical to the narrator of like the current day timeline. You know what I mean? Like, it is a historical fiction book, and both timelines, I believe, are both set in historical time periods, but even then that was really vague. Like, it was really hard for me to discern like who was speaking first of all, and then also when they were speaking. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't figure out like, is this person set in the 1940s, or is this person set in the 1940s? Is this person set in the earlier 20th century, or is this, you know what I mean? Like it was just so incoherent on so many levels. And then there were like little details in this book where like the author, the narrator, whoever, was way over explaining them. So unfortunately this just did not work for me. I don't know if I'll try out another Chanel Clayton book at some point, but unfortunately this one just was not for me. The second book that I DNF'd, another Gothic literature book, The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. I'm only 18% of the way through this, but I already know I am not liking the way that it's told. Unfortunately, with some authors, especially when they're writing Gothic literature, I feel like they try way too hard to make their book sound like it was written 100, 200 years ago. You know what I mean? Like they're trying way too hard to make it sound like a classic when it's just not a classic. And then with this book as well, I also really hated the narration because, again, it was confusing, it was messy, it was poorly executed. I couldn't figure out who was talking, who wasn't talking. I felt like there was just way too much telling me all of this historical background, all of this, like, all these family dynamics, etc., and not enough of me actually like living through these things. Like I wasn't being shown anything. It was all just being told to me in huge info dumps. And for me personally, that's boring. I can't get into that. I can't emotionally connect to that. And it takes a really, really talented author to pull off an info dump. Really talented. I'm going in a little too hard on this book. I feel really bad. I probably should cut a lot of this. I just don't believe that this author was strong enough to pull off these info dumps. You know what I mean? And yeah, I didn't like the perspectives. I didn't like the narration. I didn't like a lot of the vagueness of setting. I don't know what's going on with these authors who are writing Gothic literature, but they are being so vague with the setting. Where are we? What are we talking about here? And when I talk about all of my favorite pieces of Gothic literature, like even like Mexican Gothic, Sylvia Miranda Garcia makes sure that you are set deep within this book. You are grounded in this book. You are surrounded by the setting. Like she really truly does detail it. Same thing with Starling House, or same thing with The Death of Jane Lawrence. Like these authors have put in the time and effort to create a setting that you want to be immersed in, that is haunting and fills you with a sense of dread, and, you know, fills you with a sense of like both vastness and closeness that these authors just are not willing to put in the effort to do. You know what I mean? It's a bummer. It's a bummer. I know that this book is really well loved, and I wish that I could see it the way that other readers see it. But for me personally, with what I want from a Gothic novel, it just wasn't giving it to me. Okay, so I ranted and raved about those two books that I DNF'd. Didn't like them. However, super exciting news, I got a copy of Intermezzo from my Amazon wishlist from Jenny Reads Maybe. So here it is. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I literally was about to break down and just buy one when I was at like Target, Walmart, whatever, but every single store near me was sold out. And so I was like sitting there being like, well, do I want to order it online? What do I want to do? I had it on my Amazon wish list, but I really use my Amazon wish list for like if I'm going to Barnes & Noble, it's kind of easy to pull up and be like, what books do I want? And unfortunately, I live really far away from Barnes & Noble, so I couldn't even go check that store. But thankfully, my friend Jenny from Jenny Reads Maybe very, very graciously sent me a copy from my wish list. So thank you so much, Jenny. I really, really appreciate it. I am absolutely going to start this book immediately. Like, I do not want to waste any more time not having read this book. Everybody has been talking about how good it is, and I'm too excited. So yeah, I think we're gonna start this book. I have my coffee. I made a little coffee, And yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna listen to while I read this book, but we will see. Maybe we'll do Torture Poets Department, maybe we'll do a different album, I'm not sure. I don't know why, but I'm also kind of getting like Phoebe Bridgers vibes from this, so like maybe Phoebe Bridgers, maybe, I'm trying to think of anybody else who I would be like, oh yeah, let's listen to that. Maybe like Jensen McRae, maybe Lizzie McAlpine, maybe Grace Abrams, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm so excited to read this. I'm so pumped. I can't believe I actually am holding it in my hands. Like, I have it. It's physical. It's here. Okay, so I haven't vlogged in a little while, but I figured since I have time and I am going to be decorating this pumpkin, I would just like talk to you guys while I do that. My inspiration is this photo. We're gonna be drawing some like ghosts on it. I don't know if it'll focus, there we go. Like ghosts all over and hopefully it'll turn out really cute. I have my brushes, I have my paint, and we're just gonna hopefully make this work. I'm excited. I don't know if I would be able to like show you guys me painting the pumpkin. I'll have to see if I can angle the camera. I don't know, can you see all my other stuff in the background? I have my coffee with me as well. It's really good, actually. If you don't know, Walmart has a new brand of iced coffee, pre-made iced coffee. I believe it's the brand Better Goods, and it's pretty inexpensive. Honestly, it's like, I want to say less than $4 for like a whole jug of iced coffee. So that's not bad. Okay, so I have my reference photo right here. I have my paper towel. We should be good. I'm gonna start on this side. And actually I don't know what, this one I feel like would be good for the details. I don't know if I should use this one. Yeah, let's use this one. I kind of want to make the ghost big, so we'll do that. I should talk about what I'm currently reading. I started The 13th Tale by, oh god, I can't remember who it's by. But I'm really liking it, and I think that a lot of other people might really enjoy this book as well. It's really good. Now I'm nervous and I'm like not doing this correctly. It's very like, can you see that? I have to say I am not a super artistic person, so we are really just winging this, honestly. Does that look good? I'm worried that like I made it too big, but you know what, we'll make the ghosts different sizes, and we might have to go over a few times because it's not very like thick paint. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm reading the 13th Tale and I'm really liking it. I think it was published in like 2007 or something crazy like that. Like, I would have never picked this book up because, like, I don't know, I have a thing about reading books that were published like almost 20 years ago. I know that sounds really weird, and I know that that's like just such a strange thing to have like a complex about, but for some reason I just like do not read books that were published like within a certain amount of time, you know what I mean? So I was a little nervous picking it up, admittedly, but I am really, really enjoying it so far. So far, so good, you know? I think this will actually turn out really cute. The only problem is that, like, the paint is so thin. Like, it's not coming out very opaque, which I get because it's like white, but at the same time it's like, can we make it a little bit thicker? I don't know. But yeah, so far I'm really, really enjoying the book. I think it's a lot of fun. It's kind of like gothic fiction. I wouldn't say gothic horror because there's nothing scary about it, but it definitely does have like a gothic feel to it, which I love, as most of you probably know. But I've been really trying to read or trying to find more like interesting gothic books because I want to do like a recommendations video, and I'm really liking this one. I think it's really good. I'm really liking a lot of the characters in this book. It's basically about this young woman, and she is not really a professional biographer, but she like does biographies every once in a while, and like her parents are bookshop owners, so she's always been surrounded by books and whatever, and she ends up interviewing this really famous and important author who is like kind of on her deathbed and has never been properly interviewed before in her life. And so I think that that's like a really interesting premise. I know that, you know, that's like not a super unique premise by any means, but I do love stories like that. So I was really intrigued, and so far so good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really enjoying it, and you really get to hear a lot about this like very mysterious person's family and like how they grew up and whatever. So far I'm really liking it, which is great. I'm like, how many ghosts should we do per section, you know? I'm like, I don't know what the appropriate number would be. But now that Latina Heritage Month is over, I'm kind of like not really sure what to read at this point. I just feel like this happens every freaking year for me when it comes to fall, is that like I have so many ambitions for fall. Like, I want it to be perfect. I want it to like go the way I want it to go. You know, I want to read a bunch of books. As with anything in life, nothing is ever perfect. Especially with this pumpkin. Like, let's not judge. So I always have like these ambitions of like, oh, I'm going to read all of these great like fall type of books, and it's going to be fantastic, and I'm going to have such a great time, and I'm going to, you know, have so many books to talk about, and it's going to be the perfect fall reading year, month, whatever. Fall reading season, I guess. And that almost never ends up happening. Like, if I'm just going to be honest, like, for some reason during the fall, I either get into like a slump, or I just like have a hard time picking what I'm going to read. And so I don't know, like I always kind of psych myself out for it and like think it's going to be incredible, and it just isn't, and it's such a bummer. So trying not to get my hopes up too high, right? Like, I've done a lot of fun fall stuff though this year so far. Not quite as great as like going to New York like I did last year, but still fun, right? Like, I think we need more white paint because we're starting to run out a little bit, and I really only have this little tiny paint. So I have like books that I want to read that I have on my TBR and whatever, but like, who knows what I will actually get to. One of the books I do want to pick up this year is Hamnet by, I believe, Maggie O'Farrell, I want to say. And that's mainly because they're doing a movie adaptation for that book. And so I'm like, you know what? I should totally read the book. I own it physically, and I love Shakespeare. So I'm like, this is gonna be a great idea. So I don't know. We'll see if I can end up getting to it this year. But I've owned it forever, and I still have not picked it up, which is kind of crazy and wild. Okay, this is starting to actually turn out kind of cute. I kind of like it. Also, I've been watching so many movies lately. So many movies. I watched Get Out for the first time and I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I know, surprising. I've never seen Get Out. And it's like, when did that movie come out? Like 2017 or something like that? Like, that movie has been a thing for the longest time and I just never watched it. Mainly because I have never really been like first of all, I've never really been a movie person. Second of all, it's horror and I have never really been a horror person. So that was kind of what kept me from watching this movie. But I finally just kind of gathered up the courage and was like, you know what, let's watch it. You know, you've never seen it before. Who knows what might happen? You might love it. And you are a grown-ass adult. You should be able to watch a horror movie without getting scared. Like, right? Like, that should be a thing. I'm so sick of me being afraid of horror movies. So I decided to watch it and I ended up really liking it. I gave it like 4.5 stars, I think. Like, it was so good. Definitely not what I was expecting, but I loved it. I thought it was so good. So highly recommend it if you haven't picked it up. If you are like a scaredy cat like I am and you're just afraid that, you know, whatever, I highly recommend picking it up and trying it out. You might really like it. And so I ended up watching Us as well and loved that one too. I thought that one was really fun and really interesting and different. So, you know, conquer your fears. I think this is a great time of year to do that, especially if you're anything like me. And, you know, I'm not really into Halloween, which is really surprising because I love like a ghost story. I love spooky, scary stuff. And I know I just said I don't like horror movies. I don't like horror movies. I love like a good ghost story. That's fun for me. When I was a kid, I really loved the books, like the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books, and I loved Goosebumps. So I love a scary story. I love scary podcasts. I listen to No Sleep every once in a while. That kind of stuff is really fun to me, but it's literally just like horror movies for some reason that I cannot get into for various reasons. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough for me. Being a scaredy cat. How is it looking? It's looking really cute actually in like the viewfinder. It's kind of looking adorable. I think I need to put one right there, right? Like, that needs to be a ghost too. Oh, and I also watched the movie Ready or Not. I thought that was really fun. I loved it. That actually might be one of my new favorite movies. It was so good. Incredible performances from literally everybody. But oh my god, Adam Brody in that movie, he is something else. He is, oh my god, I loved him. But that movie I have not stopped thinking about. Like, truly have not stopped thinking about that movie ever since I watched it. So highly recommend Ready or Not as well. That's a fun movie. So yeah, if you have any recommendations for like good spooky movies, nothing too gory or gross or anything like that. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. Like Saw, I'm not gonna watch a Saw movie. I just can't. I have too much like movie watching empathy. Like, I will literally, it'll feel like it's happening to me. So nothing like that, unfortunately. But anything else, any other kind of scary movie, I might be okay with. I kind of want to watch like The Conjuring or something like that, like a scary ghost movie. I think that might be really fun. I don't know if I'm ready for it yet. I don't know. It scares me. I'm the type of person that, like, if I go to Disneyland, I'm still scared of the Snow White ride, right? Like, I'm still scared of the Snow White ride. We're gonna put a little ghosty up here too, I think. Yeah. I have to say, I have never taken an art class. Never. I don't know how to paint. So if I'm doing it wrong, if you're like, Allie, that looks terrible, don't tell me. Don't tell me. That's so rude. Also, my chair is squeaking because it's older than hell and it's from Walmart. Just like a shitty chair from Walmart. So, okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm trying to see if there's any like spots where I want to like add another ghost. But overall, I think that that looks pretty great, actually. And I didn't map any of this out. I wasn't like, okay, let's figure out where I want to put ghosts. It's just kind of like, whatever looks right to me. Okay, so I don't know if I should let that dry first or how long that's going to take to dry. I wonder how they did it in this picture, because in this picture it looks like it's paint, but it also looks like it's so opaque. And this is just not opaque. It's very like thin. So I don't know, we might have to let it set for a little while, but I just wanted to show you guys, and I will definitely show you guys the end product. But yeah, so far we have just like the concept of a pumpkin. So yeah, we're gonna let this pumpkin dry. It might take overnight, I'm not really sure, but we will see how that goes. I thought that I would need to do it today, but I might end up not being able to use my black yet. I even took the black out. But that's okay. It's just a little bit of black that I need. It's really just for like the mouth and the eyes, so we should be fine. I will talk to you guys later. I think that I will probably be going to Planet sometime soon. But I'm also super hungry, so I think I'm gonna go heat up more of the pasta because that's all I've had today. All I've had today is pasta and I'm starving and it's like 4:30. So I should probably go eat some more and enjoy that before I end up going to the gym later. Hey everybody, so it is Sunday night and I have been going through the clips that I have for this vlog and I just realized I don't have very many clips. I will say that the clips I do have are pretty long, but I figure I should vlog just a little bit more before I end this reading vlog. So I wanted to talk about the book I am currently reading, and that is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. And I am 33% of the way through this book so far. It is so good. Seriously, I am loving it so much. And I don't even really know what to say about this that I haven't already said about Abby Jimenez's books in the past. I just absolutely love the way that she crafts her characters and the just like circumstances and things that she puts them through, and like the way that she crafts her narratives, the way that she like just decides what elements to include and focus on in each of her books. And I love the way that you can tell like immediately these two characters have so much chemistry. So I'm really enjoying this one a lot. I've also noticed that a lot of her main characters, whether they're like the female main character or the male main character, a lot of them are usually doctors, which is really interesting. I don't know if that's like a thing, but I've just noticed that a lot in her books. I'm realizing that my battery is low, so I'm gonna have to update you guys more tomorrow, but I just wanted to kind of like make sure that I got a little bit of tonight on camera. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. So today is Thursday. It is 3:30. And I have been doing a lot of cleaning today. I feel like so often lately, every time I update my vlog, I'm like, oh, I've been having like a super busy day today. And so I have been, like I said, cleaning all day. I gave my dog a bath. That was like the first thing I did today. And then I did a few loads of like towels, and I vacuumed my room and dusted my room, and I washed all of my bedding. I'm currently in the middle of washing some of my clothes. It's been a cleaning kind of day. I still have to go do the dishes. That's what we're doing today, is just cleaning. But yeah, like I said, 3:30 in the afternoon, I'm finally having a chance to just kind of like relax. I have a cup of coffee right here, just a little iced coffee. And I also started a book very recently. I think, did I start it yesterday or the day before that, I can't remember, but I literally just started this book. It's We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. I'm sure most of you know or I've heard of this book before. I am such a gothic literature girly. I love gothic literature so much, whether it's like gothic romance, gothic horror, gothic, you know, historical fiction, whatever. I love it so much. And so like I felt that I should just go back to basics. I've never read a lot of like the very, you know, classic gothic literature. I chose We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I'm super excited about it. I have read about 58% of the way through this book. It's a really short book actually. I think it's only about like 6 or 7 hours, so super quick to get through, and I'm loving it so much. And if you don't know Shirley Jackson, she is the writer that I'm sure most people, especially in the US, have read from. If you are at least like 16 years old, I would say, because she is the author of the very popular short story The Lottery, which I am almost positive that like nearly everybody in this country has been required to read it during like either middle school or high school. And it's just kind of like an iconic short story. I highly recommend you go check it out if you can. I'm sure that you can find a copy of it somewhere on the internet. I mean, it's used in like most schools everywhere, so but yeah, highly recommend that one. It's also kind of like a very interesting and like twisted social commentary, really cool. If you're into like the Twilight Zone or Black Mirror or anything like that, I feel like you would really like The Lottery. But anyway, I started We Have Always Lived in the Castle. It is so intriguing, and just like reading this has so totally reminded me of why I became an English major in, you know, after high school. Like it's just so good. It's so well written. It's so solid. The characterization, the narration, the prose, everything about it is just so solid. And like I love it so much. It's so much fun to read. It's basically about this young girl and her older sister and her uncle or great uncle. I can't remember if it's her uncle or great uncle, but they all live in this big house and are kind of like social pariahs, and something very tragic and disturbing happened in their home, and so they just kind of like keep to themselves and try not to talk to anybody else in the town. And one day their distant cousin comes and visits, and things start happening and changing. And so yeah, I feel like that's all I can really say about this without like spoiling anything or like, you know, giving too much away. But I highly recommend checking out this book. It is so good. And there's another Shirley Jackson book that I really want to read as well. Gosh, it's oh shoot, it's the one that they did the Netflix series for. Now I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to look it up real quick. It's The Haunting of Hill House, which I believe they did like a limited series for on Netflix. I remember I tried to watch it a few years ago and I just like wasn't really understanding what was going on, so I think that I want to read the book first and then try the Netflix series. I also know that there is a movie adaptation of We Have Always Lived in the Castle, so I'm definitely going to check that out as well once I finish this book. I believe that it's on Peacock. I want to say it's on Peacock, I'm not sure, but yeah. So that's basically all of my reading updates for right now, and I feel like this is a really good place to kind of like stop, and we can continue talking about these books in my next vlog, which I will be really excited to film. I'm also starting to get ready for Vlogmas, which I know feels like forever and feels like it's such like a distance away, but it's really only like 4 or 5 weeks away. And I felt like last year I really didn't give myself the time to prepare or like to make ideas for Vlogmas, and I ended up cutting it really early. So I'm like, this year I really want to dedicate myself to Vlogmas, really, you know, get things prepared, because it really crept up on me last year and I was like not prepared at all. So I'm like, you know what, let's actually give this a fair shot and do it properly. So I'm definitely going to be like brainstorming video ideas. I don't want it to be a vlog every single day because I feel like that can get a little bit boring, since I feel like I have a very boring life. I'm like, you know what, we have to figure out, you know, how to sprinkle in some more exciting and interesting videos. So if you have any ideas for Vlogmas, any, you know, really quick and easy video ideas that you have, definitely let me know down below. If you have like any specific recommendations you want me to give, or, you know, whatever, definitely leave it in a comment down below, or message me, DM me on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, I feel like that's everything I wanted to talk about, and I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. And if you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, Storygraph, TikTok. All the links are down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!